into another episode of the Buckeye Blitz podcast. I'm your host, Chad Stryker, and welcome into Buckeye Friday. So, we are officially in day 2 of fall camp, and we are 4 weeks away from football, and hopefully you got a chance maybe even last night to watch a little bit of the Browns if you're a Browns fan. I did turn the game on just to hear some football sound, so we're in that time of year, folks. We've made it. You've made it. It's always good when fall camp hits. So, thought I'd answer some burning questions. Hopefully, you had a chance to catch my podcast the other night. I got an opportunity to join Buckeye Mike on YouTube, Tyler Leedy, and the Shady Sports Network, and appreciate that time. So, if you give him a like and a follow, good guy, enjoys content, and nice to spend some time with him. So, as promised, I thought I'd answer some more of the burning questions, I guess, if you'd want to say that. And so I get so many questions about the quarterbacks, and so I thought I would start there. So, I was at the spring game. I think I mentioned this the other day, and I had an opportunity to watch lots of the practice video that was out of Kyle McCord in the spring, and then, listen to what the coaches say that they're going to split things 50-50. And, I know that there's a draw to Devin Brown because of his athleticism, and I fully understand that. And even like Lincoln Kienholz is incredibly athletic, and I'm not saying that Kyle McCord is not. I've touched on this before, but Kyle McCord moves well enough. So I think my concern, and this is me going around and around with this, is I just remember how banged up Justin Fields got, and then how banged up JT Barrett had gotten, and Braxton Miller, with all of those designed QB runs. And so if you think, I guess I would say I don't think, let me rephrase this, that we're going to go back to that. I don't think you're going to see the power QB run. I think you might see some zone read. I think you might see some end arounds, those kind of things. But I would say those are probably less than 5 a game. So if the desire is, I just want somebody that can or is willing to go pick up 5 or 7 yards on 3rd and 3 when they have to, Kyle McCord can do that for you. And I would just say that. And I don't know who has a leg up. If I was a betting man, my odds would be on Kyle McCord because he has 2 years in the system. I mentioned this on the show the other night with Buckeye Mike, that my only question is, and I keep circling the drain with this, and I can't, is that Kyle McCord and C.J. Stroud came in at the same time. They were both highly rated. So was C.J. Stroud that much further ahead? Was he that much better? What caused him to start? And so I just question, why CJ was the starter and why now, Kyle is in a position to be the starter. And I know sometimes kids just take a while to grow into the position, but it just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder. So, I have a lot of friends that, believe that Devin Brown's going to be the starter. So we'll see what happens. And I think that it's good that you have 2 starting quality and caliber quarterbacks. And a lot of the reports yesterday was Tristan Gebbia looked pretty good too. So, and if you flash back to that national championship season, we needed all 3 quarterbacks. So we'll see how that goes. But I think the biggest difference for me in the 2 quarterbacks is, I get asked this a lot. Kyle McCord has a cannon. Like, he has a cannon attached to his right arm. And Devin Brown has a nice touch and a nice deep ball and is mobile. So, well, I'm sure we're going to talk about it a bunch. I'm sure Ryan Day is going to get asked about it a bunch. Every couple of years, I feel like we go through this with the starting quarterback position. So I'm hoping that it gets settled early in camp and we're not headed into the season with these questions about who the starter is. As far as uh, the quarterbacks go, and I'm being super candid here. Um, if we don't get the offensive line figured out, it isn't going to matter because they're not going to be upright. After hearing what happened at practice yesterday, JT Tuimoloau and Mike Hall basically lived in the backfield. Now, I don't think you're going to see too many JT Tuimoloau's and Mike Halls throughout the course of the season, but the fact of the matter is they were very disruptive and they were in the backfield a lot. I'd like that to get shored up. Um, and I've also heard that Tegra Shabola looks really, really good early in camp, and that Josh Simmons not so much. So we've only had one day of fall camp to base that off of, so can change rapidly. But I've also heard Josh Fryer looked good. At left tackle, so keep that with you. But I do have concerns. I wish in the spring they would have given more consideration to maybe playing Donovan Jackson at left tackle and then having Josh Fryer be your left guard, and then, you know, that kind of situation where you have that backside anchored a little bit differently. But regardless, they aren't. It's too late in the year now. I don't think they're going to do it. And it's, it is what it is. But the offensive line, the Ohio State 2023 season is going to hinge on the offensive line because of the stable of running backs and the talent that's around the quarterback. I think whoever the quarterback is going to be okay, but we need the offensive line to come full circle. Uh, I had a bazillion questions on recruiting, and let me just say that I know it has been really frustrating the last 2 years to lose out on last year Uyangalele, Keon Keeley, Damon Wilson, and on the big four, and that we don't cast a wide net. But I would also remind you that they brought in Caden McDonald, Josh Mickens, Jason Moore, and Will Smith Jr. Then this year they brought in Tywan Malone via the transfer portal. That helps. They had Justin Scott committed to Ohio State, and that helps. And I think they're in a good place for Edric Houston. If they close on him, that's incredibly important. I see where Booker Pickett Jr. is going to announce his commitment. So I would just take a breath and also realize that these are just commitments. National Signing Day is in December. So some of these clubs, some of these ball teams that may not have the kind of season that Ohio State does. Ohio State's going to stay in contact with them. You never want to burn a bridge. There's always the transfer portal. Things don't work out in a year. Um, you know, that Miami's already got problems with one of their NIL boosters. So stay the course. Is my recommendation. And if recruiting upsets you, maybe just don't follow it because it's been this way forever. The NIL has changed the game a little bit, but recruiting has been frustrating to me for ages. So I would like to see Ohio State maybe go out and look for one more defensive end besides Booker Pickett Jr. and Edric Houston. I think they're going to stay on Marquise Lightfoot. I'd like to see them get 4 in this class. That would be, ideal to me. But yeah, it is frustrating. It is disheartening. I get I had multiple people ask me about KJ Bolden. You know, he could pick anybody. It doesn't sound like, um, I guess, anybody really knows. If I was gonna say anybody but Georgia, it would be Florida State. Honestly, Florida State has come on hot and strong, and um, if I was going to say anybody, right, I guess right from the jump it was Ohio State and Georgia, and I think Florida State's right in there too now. I'll just say it like that. You know, I just wanted to tell you I empathize. I understand the frustration with recruiting. It is disheartening, and the Dylan Stewart thing. All along, when South Carolina popped up, I just didn't have a good feeling. Like, that's such an outlier that I didn't necessarily understand it. And if you even like, I like to listen to Kevin Noon. I know some people don't like Kevin, but he said the same thing. Like, South Carolina being involved just seems such, like, Clemson I get, Ohio State I get, but South Carolina, besides Jadeveon Clowney, they're not really known for putting defensive ends in the league. And so there was something there. There's something different, something odd that he really liked. And that was what changed. So with the South Carolina thing, who knows? That's all I can say. I don't know. I don't think it was NIL, all NIL. I mean, I'm sure that it was part of it, but um, you guys know as well as I do, if you come to Columbus and you perform at Ohio State, and you do what you set out to do, you'll never pay for a drink, you'll never pay for a meal, and you have a good opportunity to make it to the league. So it is what it is at this point with that. I'm bummed by it, but I was also ecstatic that we picked up Aaron Scott. I'm ecstatic that they brought in Nigel Glover. I know a lot of people have asked, like, is that a replacement for KVA? No, it's not. It's not. If anything, it would be a replacement for losing out on Tackett Curtis in the 2023 cycle. Because Nigel Glover's a 2023 kid, essentially, and is available immediately and once he's enrolled. So no, it's not a replacement for KBA. I think they may reset the board and may try to go get a third linebacker in this class, but it's not going to be at the level, unless a kid blows up this year, his senior year. It's not going to be at the level of KBA, and that one was a bummer too. It really was. And the what I'm trying to get to the bottom of and trying to understand even is, what is happening in the last 7 days of a kid's recruitment before they commit, that we're leading, they like us, there's a silent commit, if much like we've heard, KVA was, Dylan Stewart was, and some of these other kids, Marquise Lightfoot, and then something flips. And is it not solely NIL? Is there something going on? Do we need someone to help Larry Johnson, who's younger and maybe more proficient with technology for texting? I'm just throwing stuff out. I don't really know. But the losses have certainly mounted, as far as recruiting losses, and it's a bummer. That's all I'm going to say. It's a bummer, and I'm really hoping that that gets ironed out. If we get Edric Houston, and maybe one more or two more high caliber defensive ends, Booker Picker Jr., and add and flip somebody or find somebody, and maybe an Ohio kid that blows up his senior year, that'll go a long way and that'll help. So that's my 2 cents for today. I had a lot of questions, like I said, around recruiting, quarterbacks, and tried to kind of combine them all. So thanks for listening. I am on vacation next week, so I won't be dropping any podcasts. I'll be kind of paying attention. If something crazy happens, with KJ Bolden over the weekend, or I know Booker Pickett, I think, is announcing over the weekend. I'll do a short and go live with a short podcast to talk about it. Enjoy your week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Take care. Go Bucks.